David Riccio standing by. We will throw the big question at David. Would it be inappropriate to run the famous 95 blue in the build-up to tomorrow night? Here comes the wannabe nudist.
And now on Breakfast with Vossy and Brandy, the back page with David Riccio.
Dave, what do you think? Well, let's go with that one. Do you think we show the fight just to get things revved up a bit?
Hey, good morning, boys. Yeah, look, I would love to, but I feel like you're selling. Well, I wouldn't say you're selling a dream because the dreams can come true, and I just in this current day and age, I know we need something, don't we, boys? We need a fire starter here to kick things along. You know what? A story today is that the Queensland Rugby League officials aren't happy that Channel 9 have been promoting the high shot on Reece Walsh in their advertising, in their commercials, in the build-up to this match. So, let alone showing the great brawl of 95.
Yeah, well, they apparently so in the ad. I've got to put a hand declare I haven't seen the ad, but they actually edit out the point of contact. So they show Swalihi running in as part of the drama. But I'm saying, and I mean this, David, I'm not just seeking reaction here. I honestly believe if you can't show that fight from 95 in the build-up and promoting this game, and I'm talking promoting, then it's condemned to a dingy dungeon and never to be shown again. I think it happened. No one's hurt. If someone was king hit, I'm not showing someone king hit. But that fight, to me, gets you in the mood for Origin tomorrow night at the MCG. And you go, remember that. You know, I think it can be used as a positive. I mean that sincerely.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And to be honest, guys, and as much as Grant Denyer was a terrific person to have on the show, it was the appeal in what he said, the fact that he was a ball boy for that and had a front row seat to that brawl. That was the story last week when you came across Grant Denny's extraordinary moment of being the ball boy and had a front row seat to the brawl because everybody remembers the brawl. And that's where you're coming from, Vossy. I get it. I totally get it. Hey, look, I hope it gets a little bit more lively so they don't need to use the brawl at today's press conference between the two coaches, Michael Maguire and Billy Slater, facing off. Interestingly, they're doing this in Federation Square, guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how much of the general public turn up. Usually these are held behind closed doors. In the past, I know I've been there myself, and it's held inside, one of the long rooms of the MCG. Yeah. But this one's out in public, so I'm really keen to see the type of public appeal.
And how the pressure on the actual participants to be incredibly straight when they are so much in the public eye. This would be unlike your Conveyor Logistics appearance. You are here, of course, for Conveyor Logistics, for your warehouse automation solutions. We're trying to tee up that big breakfast event. David Riccio to make an appearance at Conveyor Logistics, which will be good. But
that will happen. That will happen. Yeah. David, we opened the show this morning and just spoke about how we were feeling the build-up of Origin. And I said, well, I'm just looking forward to the game. I don't know, the build-up, I don't know enough, being involved with the Blues for the last 6 years. I really don't know what the build-up's been like, because it's different when you're in camp than what it is when you're just, and certainly when you're part of the media, even though I was doing a bit of radio, through last year's series and over the time. But I'm waiting for the game so we've got something to talk about. And Vossy and I said, well, because the club footy and because there has been great games over the last couple of weekends, has that overshadowed what the build-up of Origin? I don't know. Yeah. What's your feel?
Yeah, my feel is this, guy. Look, I think it has certainly been flatter than previous series, and I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One, the Blues heading to the Blue Mountains has taken them out of the spotlight. And also, too, guys, the access has been minimised compared to Brad Fittler's days. Early doors Brad Fittler, every single player was made available at every single training session. You could talk to every player. Nowadays, only 2 players are available every day and for about 10 to 15 minutes. And so that does control the ability to maximise the press and exposure, because you're getting the same 2 players that every other media outlet is getting every day. So it does dilute your ability to get a great interview and promote the game. So I think that's a factor.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I think the club football now, guys, has grown to such a status that the competition and the way the salary cap is working, that every game is now live. Where in Origin, 15, 20 years ago, when Origin was on, it was a real struggle for the struggle teams.
Yeah.
And it almost was hard going to watch another game outside of State of Origin. So I think the game's done a remarkable job on that front because, as you said, the footy's so good at the moment.
Here's some listener reaction, boys. This one, only show it, the fight that is, if you're going to allow it. Otherwise, it's false advertising. This one, would love to have the 95 State of Origin fight as promotion, but these days everyone is so sensitive. There'll be people out there that don't like it and have a win, so we can't. As much as we all liked it, times have changed. And this last one for today at Federation Square, David, can Madge walk up to Billy and just hip drop him? That's from the Butt Munch. The Butt Munch wants a hip drop.
What about he comes sliding in with studs up and
Billy gets back.
Well, that's right. I would have gone the other way, and Billy with the old the flying karate kick as he collects the ball.
Yeah, man. Did he go the glass house line? Oh, wow.
Look, I don't, and David, I don't think it's changed. Whereas the players haven't said anything against the other state for quite some time. And Dino of Mortdale says Origin hype isn't what it used to be because of the pressure. Ultimately, they want to win the game first and foremost. Selling it isn't their prerogative, nor should it be. As a New South Welshman particularly, we're under enough pressure. He says, go the Blues, but I agree with that. But you don't want to give the other side anything to hang their hat on as to motivation.
Yeah. It's declined ever since Paul Gallen retired. There's no doubt about that.
Paul Gallen, exactly.
That's
a good point. Yeah.
It changed then. And you're right. I think you're spot on, Brandy. I think players are more afraid these days to say things that will provoke the opposition. Now, Gal didn't have a problem with that. Put his head out there and had a crack.
Didn't matter what his teammates thought.
The other point too is, guys, and I suppose this hardly helps me as someone who covers the game, is that ticket sales aren't struggling, and TV ratings are still very strong. Now, if the crowd was 40,000 tomorrow night, and TV ratings were in decline, I'd say, hang on a sec, we need to liven State of Origin up, but it isn't, and so therefore, while ever that's the case, I think the players are only going to become more diluted and more, dare I say, boring.
Mm-hmm.
Brendan,
okay.
Brendan's just comment on the two captains, boys. He says maybe this, quote, boring lead-up is related to the two captains. DC and Gerbo are two absolute cleanskins and nice guys. As I heard someone say once, DC is so nice, he's the sort of person that when finishing shopping at Woolies, he doesn't leave his trolley in the car park, he walks it back into the store. Says Brendan. The two captains. Well, James Tedesco wasn't a fired-up character either. It's not like James Tedesco came spitting blood to previous campaigns, but Jake is next level, David. So even the Queen, like when you talk, no, but seriously, when you talk Paul Gallen, he was he was a hated figure for Queensland. His arch enemy number one. Jake Trbojevic. Well, no one in Queensland hates Jake Trbojevic. It's just you don't have that sort of. Jerome Luai is probably the biggest target. Liam Martin potentially. You don't like even the figures that would be disliked by the other side.
Yeah.
Perhaps the characters aren't as strong as what we once had. The Wally days.
Yeah.
The rose-coloured glasses, I know, but they were huge. The figures were huge.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, Jake's such a great bloke. He could turn up today with a bunch of flowers for the Queenslanders and just wish them all the best.
And no one would be that surprised. Lockie Galvin urges Big Stefano to stick around. Is Stefano? He wants to go to the market, doesn't he? Do you think
He's
is there a
definitely going
bigger
to go to the
offer?
market.
Is there a bigger offer around for Stefano? 5 years, $4 million. Is anyone going to throw any more money, or do you think he just wants out of the club?
No, I think someone. I think. I know of a club. I know of a club willing to pay close to $1 million for him, Brandy, and so money's not going to be an issue as far as getting more on the open market than what the West Tigers are currently offering. He's going to go to the open market, guys. It's a fait accompli. Lockie Galvin, and credit to him, the way he's now attempting to keep Stefano at the club. There's a crucial meeting, guys, this week with Stefano and Shane Richardson at the West Tigers, and also Benji Marshall. They're going to meet with Stefano, give it one last crack to try and convince him to stay, or at least stop going from the open market. Look, I think it's no chance of happening, and he'll go to market, and it's going to be fascinating to see which clubs get into this bidding war. As I said, I definitely know one club willing to pay $1 million or more for Stefano Itano.
Okay. And the Tigers are looking at Big Nelson, are they? If Stefano leaves?
This is interesting. Targets? Yeah, this is interesting. And, it's almost as a backdrop to that discussion that we're having about Stefano, that if things do fall over, which, it's certainly not case closed, but he's going to head to market, that the West Tigers will have a look at Nelson Asafa-Solomona's situation. The key there is that the Melbourne Storm have been loath to release Nelson at any point. And we know Nelson's struggling as far as being a mainstay of that Melbourne Storm lineup. And at no point have they indicated they're willing to release him. He still has at least 3 more years left on his contract at the Melbourne Storm. He's on massive money. Mm. And my only second point to the West Tigers is that you're always got to be careful about players that the Melbourne Storm let go. Justin Olam's not a bad example. He's been solid for the West Tigers without being outstanding. But, that's my concern. And look, it's only a watch and see at this point in time, guys. But it's where the West Tigers may look to head if they do indeed lose Stefano Itano.
Mm. He's averaging about 31, 32 minutes, Nelson. He's not, and they are sitting on top of the competition. So they're not getting the best out of Nelson. They're playing without Cameron Munster. They've been playing without Pappenhausen for a long time. Yeah. They're doing a pretty good job, aren't they, to be leading the
club?
Aren't
they what?
Yep.
Aren't they what? Yeah. Yep.
There we go. This one, bit rich from Lockie Galvin, trying to talk a player into staying at the Tigers when he asked for 4 releases. Yeah, right, mate. No, that's true. That's true. I know he's on deck, but he had previously asked for releases. But anyway, that's the argy-bargy of the Tigers' negotiations at the moment.
Boys, in what world is Stefano worth $1 million, says the Wild Panther?
Yeah.
So, so where would you rate Stefano? Where would you have him? If you had a list of front rowers in the competition, where would Stefano be? Like, where would he be in the top 10? There's some very good front rowers in the competition.
Yeah.
And I could rattle off 7 or 8 really quick. Now, there might be potential there. And I watching him this year, he started the year really well. When they won those 2 games against the Eels and the Sharks to start their season, Stefano was very good. And David, he'd played Origin. But very quickly through those run of losses, and I remember being in Tamworth for the Newcastle game, and I thought, this is round 10. This is just before the Origin teams were picked. And I thought, if Stefano can have a big game against the 2 Saifidi brothers and Leo Thompson, well, he might be able to show. So he might be a chance for Origin. But there was nothing doing that day. And I thought, wow, that was a real opportunity for Stefano to lay a claim for a spot in the Origin side. He wasn't even part of the squad that Madge picked, was he?
No, he wasn't. No,
he wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
And that charge, Brandy, we saw the other day where he runs over the top of Sebastian Kris. Now, it's one thing to do charges back on kickoff returns.
Kickoffs. Yeah.
Like I noticed that in even Adam Fanua-Blake's figures the other day. This is what made them so modest. 18 of his running metres were from kickoffs. So he's basically run for 50 metres in the game. Like, your premier front rowers run for 50 metres. That's not good enough. Stefano's not hitting the numbers that I believe
Stefano's
command
last
$1
two
million.
games. Yes, his game against the Titan was good. That was one of his standout games.
Yep.
Vossy, I saw half of the game. How would you rate Stefano's performance in the game against the Raiders?
Reasonable. Second stint. The first stint, I wouldn't say was, hugely dynamic. No, it's just he's. But good luck to him. If someone's prepared, is he worth $1 million? Well, someone's going to pay it, David. You're telling me someone is there, like BMO's saying. Who's the club? But so you will swear by it, David. There is a club that is prepared to pay
you don't want to release that name, do you? Which club is it?
No, not at this point, guys. No, definitely, 100% there is. Look, I'm with you, Brandy. Started the season strong, and for everything you said, that's the reason he's not in the State of Origin side. So his form did dip. I can't get away from the fact that it's a byproduct of the West Tigers form at the same time. Like,
that's true.
Yes,
that's true. But...
Like, I get it. You can be an individual and still be a star for your team, but geez, it's hard when you're on the back foot constantly, of which the Tigers were in those games prior to Origin selection. I think a lot of it's on potential, guys. He just turned 24. We're talking about a 115 kilo, 6'3" front rower. They're not falling out of trees,
he can
guys.
Run. Yeah, he can run. Like, he's athletic. You look at the good front rowers. The good front rowers in the game are athletic. They can run. They get over the advantage line quick. There's more to them. They bust tackles. Like, the good ones bust tackles too.
All righty. If you want to have a say on what David's talking about, get on the Great Southern Bank Open line, 1300 01 1170. David, you've been here for Conveyor Logistics. When automation is key to your business's success, this is the name that you need to know and trust. Conveyor Logistics for your warehouse automation solutions. David, great report.
Hey, thank you, boys. Go well.
Thanks, Dave.
Feels good. We'll all go well. Breakfast with Vossy and Brandy. Yeah, get on the Great Southern Bank Open line. Anyone who calls, you're in the running to be the Club Med Caller of the Week, which could have you as the Club Med Caller of the Year.